William Morrow and HarperAudio present The Hidden Book, a novel by Kirsty Manning. Performed by Elizabeth Nabben.
For Charlie, who was annoyed he had to share the last book dedication with my friend. This one is yours, kid. Keep spinning. X. Prologue. May 1945, Mauthausen concentration camp, Austria. The boy tiptoed past the guards slumped in the sentry box. He quietly tugged on the giant gates. Matteo, Nico, and Jakub had promised they would be unlocked, and the guards drunk on liquor the cook had fermented from rotten apples in old oak barrels. The boy wished the kitchen men had allowed him a swig, or three. He could have done with some Dutch courage. Rumours swirled that the Allies were getting closer. The camp was in chaos, so no one would be missing him yet. The remaining SS guards were busy swigging from hip flasks and loading the last of their documents and supplies, those that hadn't been destroyed, into the back of giant trucks. The rest of the Nazi soldiers had run away, no one knew where. Tonight, prisoners lay like pickled herrings stacked up against each other in their bunks, just in case a departing soldier decided to check one last time and casually shoot anyone not in their bed. With his calloused palm on the wooden gate, the boy eyed the fresh mound of soil just beyond the barbed electric fence. He hesitated. A deep breath. Another. The gate creaked as he opened it a fraction and began to squeeze through. He'd been given this job because he was the skinniest prisoner in Mauthausen, also the fastest. He'd managed to get most of his torso and one leg out when a light flicked on at the far end of the camp's grounds. The boy held his breath, waiting for the shot. When it didn't eventuate, he wriggled the rest of his body through the gate, making sure the parcel under his ragged top didn't get squashed. He snapped the gate closed and ran for the cover of the woods as he made his way to the village. He'd promised the men he would see this through, whatever it took. Leaning against a tree, he tapped his parcel and started to make the sign of the cross, just like his abuela and abuelo had taught him back in Spain. But then he stopped. God had forgotten them. He kept running until he reached the stone wall and scrambled over into the garden, where he lay on his stomach as a line of Nazi trucks rumbled across the cobblestones and away from the village. The SS were leaving, but who was coming? Dew soaked his clothes, but he didn't mind. It was a comfort to rest his cheek against soft grass and smell the soil. When the last of the trucks had passed, he got to his knees and counted the stones in the wall from the corner, just as Nico had told him to. Reaching the fourth, he put his parcel down and wobbled the stone to test it was the right one before he heaved it out. He took the parcel in his hands one last time, ran his fingers over the rough threads of the old flour sack, and kissed it for good measure. Then he gently placed it into the darkness before covering the cavity with the stone. Chapter 1. Hannah. February 1987, The Old Farm, Liverpool Plains, New South Wales, Australia. Hannah Campbell stood with bare feet in the kitchen of the sprawling homestead. The hardwood floorboards were wide and old, smoothed by generations of feet. Outside the window, beyond the bullnose veranda, paddocks of sorghum and sunflowers stretched across the plains in alternating patches of green, yellow, and brown. The summer air was still and hot. Flies buzzed against screen doors, while a lopsided fan whirred overhead. Hannah's grandfather, Nico, was being collected from the town train station by her mother, Rosa. Deda had travelled for almost 2 days in a giant aeroplane from the other side of the world, from Mostar, Yugoslavia, where Rosa had grown up. She had met Hannah's father on a plane and moved to Australia 6 months later to marry him. Hannah had never been to Yugoslavia, but she knew from her grandparents' postcards and photos that Mostar was surrounded by wooded mountains
Sample complete. Ready to continue?